Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So, today I read a very disturbing story about a white man who's 28 years old by the name of James Harris Jackson. This man is from Baltimore. So, this man decided to travel all the way to New York City so that he could target and kill African American men. This man decided to go to New York City because, as you all know, New York City is a center of culture, it is a center of business, and it's a media center as well. So he figured that if he committed his crime in New York City, that it would receive a lot of media attention and he would be able to make a bold statement. So he decided to go to New York City to commit this crime. Now, when he went to New York City, he saw a 66-year-old black man going through a trash can collecting bottles. So he approached this black man with a 26-inch mini sword and proceeded to stab this black man repeatedly, stabbing this black man to death. And after he committed this heinous crime, he turned himself in. He went to the police station and he said, "I'm the person you're looking for." And he surrendered. He said that he was going to the police because he wanted to avoid killing again. Now, this whole story raises several questions, and I read several news articles about this tragedy, and none of the articles, none of the media reports that I heard referred to this man, James Jackson, as a terrorist. None of them. And I think that that's a prime example of hypocrisy and racism. When white people commit terrorism against black people, rarely does the media refer to it as terrorism. When black people are the victims, rarely do they refer to those crimes as terrorism. Even though white supremacists are the greatest terrorists in this country. There are several reports that point out how white supremacist groups pose a greater threat to the American people than these foreign terrorists do. But yet, under this Trump administration, white supremacist groups are a low priority. And that's not a surprise given the fact that you actually have white supremacists who are in the Trump administration. So it's no surprise. But you have this double standard. I mean, white supremacist groups have a long history of terrorizing black people. White supremacist groups have blown up black churches, killed black children, killed black people, lynched black people, shot black people, committed all kinds of acts of terrorism in order to prevent black people from exercising their basic civil and human rights. But yet, these groups and individuals like this guy, James Jackson, are not called what they are, and that's terrorists. They're not viewed as a significant threat. That's why the Trump administration has not prioritized investigating these types of terrorist groups, these types of terrorist individuals. I mean, you have the Dylan Roof situation where he killed 9 people praying in the church. You have this situation where this man travels and kills a random black man and wanted to actually kill more black men. But yet it's not a priority, yet it's not viewed as terrorism. And I think that that's hypocrisy. I think that that's racism. Now, another thing that's sick about this story is that it speaks to the narcissistic, self centered, egotistical nature of this society. I mean, people are so self centered that they are so, so obsessed with getting attention, getting fame, that they will do practically anything for that. So here you have a man who actually traveled miles to New York City, killed somebody primarily so that they could get attention. And I think that that just speaks to the self centered, narcissistic nature of this society. Now, another thing that's really alarming about this situation is that this man was a member of the military. He served in the U.S. Army from March 2009 to April 2012, and he served in Afghanistan. And the thing that makes this so odd is that too often, in a lot of these cases of domestic terrorism, these cases of gruesome violence, too often the perpetrators are former military people. And I don't think that that's an accident. First of all, I think that a lot of these military people suffer from post traumatic stress syndrome. So that's part of the reason why they commit these heinous crimes. Also, a lot of these people have been programmed and trained to be killing machines. And even when they leave the theater of war, they still have that killer mentality. And then also, if you just look into the history of the military and intelligence agencies, you will see that they've had actual experiments in mind control. One that's documented is MK Ultra, and I just think that the fact pattern here is extremely odd and bizarre, and it just raises serious questions. And this whole case should be a wake up call for society that we really need to prioritize investigating and monitoring these white supremacist groups, because who knows what will happen next? Who knows when the next Dylan Roof will happen? And to go back to this point about the military, I mean, examples of other military people who have committed these kinds of acts of terrorism include that DC sniper years ago who killed all these random people. He was in the military. You look at Timothy McVeigh, a man who bombed a federal building, killing close to 200 or more people. And then you have this situation here, and you have a situation, I think it was Fort Hood, where you had that military man shoot his own fellow soldiers. I just don't think that that's a coincidence. And I think that this whole thing raises serious questions that need to be explored and need to be answered.